Hello, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be reviewing the LEGO Dreams set number 71454, Mateo and Z-Blob the robots. So to start things off, we will be taking a look at the minifigures. So let's just scoot down and let's check out the minifigures and see how they are. Starting off with Mateo, and I will say Mateo here does look pretty good, very faithful to how he looks in the show. Yeah, very nice, very neat. Let's just go ahead and remove the accessories for a second to get a nice look at the printing on his torso and legs. Yeah, very nice. Do you got like this nice like belt thing going across with the nice like little like gold trimmings, like the gold highlights. Very shiny, very neat. And even here, I like this like sort of like belt buckle thing here. You even get like the night mural. Yeah, night mural. Yeah, night mural. You got the night mural logo printed here on his torso, and that's nice. Moving down, you do get a good look at the legs, and I will say the legs are also a very nice print, have a very nice print to them. Like, very nice. You got like this belt, got like this green belt thing printed here, and even some like pockets and even some pockets at the corner of the legs here to indicate that these are like some jeans or something. He's wearing jeans or something. Yeah, very nice. Turning him around, here you got you still get like the more of the belt printing carried over from the other side. Very nice. Yeah, very neat. Each of the arms are molded in different colors. One's molded in blue, the other in this dark azure color. Very nice, and you even get some of that printing indicating why this arm is blue. It's a darker shade of blue. Very nice. And as you can see from the legs, his legs are actually dual molded, so that he actually looks like he's wearing shoes. That is not something you would see. That's not something you would see all that often with Lego minifigures. Like the fact that he actually looks like he's wearing shoes. Kind of fascinating. Very, very nice. Now taking a look at his head. It does have... taking a look at his hairpiece first. Like, his hairpiece is actually really cool. It's got like these sort of dreadlocks thing going on with his hair. And even some like green printing on his bangs. That's neat. And of course you can remove that and take a closer look at his face. He does have this like confident expression on his face, which is nice. Pretty cool. It even got like this sort of like green eye thing going on here on one side. Cool. And of course you can turn this guy around to have a more happy expression. That's neat. That's cool. And of course you can put that back on. Very nice. And that's how that looks. In terms of accessories, he's got, first of all, he's got he's basically got like a lime, not lime, it's a bright green, yeah. He's basically got a bright green, like, Batman utility belt piece that is used as part of his, like, belt design thing that is going on right here. So the printing on his torso even carries over to this utility belt. So that's neat. Very neat. Nice to see like a part that is used for a licensed character like Batman being used in a non-licensed fashion. That's neat. In terms of other accessories he's got his hourglass thing. He's got his hourglass, this like hourglass piece, which by the way looks very pretty. It looks just like an hourglass, like with how it's like dual molded, so that it looks like there's actually sand in there. Very nice. Unfortunately, even though this is not accurate to how Mateo's like hourglass thing looks in the show, or really any of them, it still looks really nice. Still looks really nice, and there is a piece up here that once again has the Nightmare logo printed onto this tile, and he can just hold it like so. Though I do kind of wish that there'd be a way for him to like holster or like hold it on like his back or his side or something like that. But like holding it in his hands, it's not bad. And yeah, this hourglass piece looks really nice. It even has like those little like rod things that like keeps. You got like those little rod things, just like just like most hourglass designs have. Very nice. Just like a lot of those designs have. Got it. That's a really cool piece. His other accessory, of course, being his pencil staff. Yeah, this actually looks like, joking aside, this actually looks pretty neat. It legitimately looks like an oversized pencil. And I believe that is what it actually is in the show. But yeah, like this looks pretty good. I actually enjoy the build for this. The eraser part is fun. I even do like how they used this small like tiny drill piece as like the lead for the pencil. And that's neat. It looks neat, and it even doesn't even look that far from like a pencil. Yeah, very nice. I do like the look of this one. We can, of course, give him his hourglass back. Yeah, very, very cool. Mateo here, very cool. Now, he is in his, like, dream catcher's, like, suit that he does dream up. I believe he does dream up in, the dream world. But something I do notice is that he doesn't have his, like, green cape. And while I do believe he does come with that, green cape in other sets, it is kind of like odd seeing like his dream catcher look without his cape. Do kind of wish we got his cape in here too, included too, but still not bad. Still overall a pretty good minifigure of Mateo. Over here we have our other minifigure, which is Jaden. Jaden here is a more like a side character in the Dreams like show. And yeah, it's really cool to get more secondary characters in from that show in set form as well. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. They even like gave him his like sort of tonsils thing on here. Yeah, very nice. He does have a cool hairpiece. I believe this is the same hairpiece that like the classic the classic like Kid Lord Lloyd Garmadon kid minifigure uses. I believe that's like the same hair piece, but in black. Yeah, very cool. We can, of course, remove that. And to get a good look at his expression, it's a pretty neutral expression, and once again, he even has like the tonsils thing over his mouth, or I believe that's what it is. I'm not entirely sure what those are, but my guess are like some sort of like tonsils or something. And you can turn him around to give him a sleeping expression because he is in his PJs. So we can just turn that around. He's got like a really neat like sleeping expression on his face. Yeah, very nice. And speaking of which, his pajamas are pretty sick, to be honest. Leg print. There's no printing on the legs. They're just your standard like purple legs. But the torso printing's actually kind of fun. It's a neat torso print. I do like it. And here we turning him around. We do get a look at that from the back. Yeah, very cool. I like it. Very neat. Up next, we have our enemy like build in this set. Here we have like our enemy like sort of like nightmare thingy. We got our like nightmare creature or whatever this is supposed to be. And I do think this looks pretty neat. It's like it's kind of makes me think of like traditional like monsters under your bed sort of scenario. Yeah, I think that's actually kind of cool. Like, it does look pretty cool. It does have a pair of sharp yellow eyes in the front. Very nice. Here's how he looks from under and from behind. He does have like this thing does have like this sort of like claw like tail thing, which you can use to like keep whoever's in the bed in the bed. Like it's like a way of like capturing them, I think. Yeah, very nice. Do you think this looks cool? It does use this thing does use a nice pop of this like this ghostly green color. Yeah, very nice. And in terms of articulation, he does not only have a hinge here that can hinge around, and of course the ends of the claw can also hinge back and forth separately, but you can also swivel around. So that's neat. And of course, each of the 4 legs is on a rotating hinge. Is on a hinge and a rotation. And that goes for all 4 legs. So this whole thing, like despite its like size, is like rather articulated. Yeah, very nice. And then we got the bed thing on top of him, which I don't know if this bed is like a part of this creature, or if he's just under the bed, or if he's just like carrying the bed as he's like capturing like the unexpected dreamers. Well, like yeah, you can like fit Jaden in the bed, and you can like capture. You can like claw him over. You can like fit the claw. You can like grab him with the tail claw. And when we have that, now he's like trapped in his dream or whatever it might be. The bed is removable and is rather easily removable. It's just on 2 studs. And the creature thing on its own does look pretty neat as well. Very nice. And this, like, this actually makes me think, well, this actually is making me think about this, like, yeah, like, what if there's, like, more, like, creatures like this in the dream world, where it's, like, where they're, like, where they're sort of like a hermit crab, sort of, like, nightmare creature, almost, where it's not just beds that they can carry on their backs, but also, like things like other things like furniture or large appliances or like other things. I kind of see these as like a hermit crab sort of thing, as like very nice. And the bed on its own is rather simple, but I believe it gets the job done. And with that removed, you can see that this creature has like a sort of scorpion aesthetic going on. So that's pretty neat. Overall, I think this is a cool like nightmare creature. And now we move on to the main part of the set, that of course being Z-Blob. So Z-Blob in his robot mech form, he looks pretty good. He does have a nice futuristic clean look to him. Very nice. Turning him around, here's how he looks from the back. And not a whole lot, not a whole lot of anti-studs showing. Like a couple on each leg, a few in the pelvic region, and while the majority of them are on his back, they're not too visible. So yeah, very nice, very interesting, I think. Z-Blob does look pretty good. Here we got a good look at his head. Very nice. You even have little eyes printed on here. And something else that you can do is because he is easily connected on a single stud. Not only does he have a 360 rotation in the head, but you can also just remove him and basically just display him alongside Mateo. Sure, he is a little bit on the large side. Sure, he is a little bit large, but as a stand-in, mini Z-Blob, tiny Z-Blob that climbs around with Mateo. Yeah, very, very nice, very neat. So connecting that back on, very nice. Moving on to the torso, you do get some sticker detailings here. Very cool. Once again, you do get the night mirror here. Very nice. We do got some green striping on either side. We got the word sleep basically graffitied onto his abdomen area. Very nice. We also have blob also graffitied on the side. Very nice. And even a little sticker that says yo. Very nice. The torso is nice. It's compact. Very neat. Even the sides of it. And while yes, you do get a little bit of, you do get this standard green piece exposed here. It really doesn't stand out too much. It really doesn't stand out in a bad way. Still looks fine. Yeah, it still looks fine. The waist does have this tire piece being used here. And speaking of which, he does have a waist rotation that can go 360. Though I will say, because this upper body build is just connected to the lower body via this singular Technic pin connection, which means that his waist rotation is his waist connection is slightly looser than I would like it to be, but it's not too bad. He can still hold poses just fine. The pelvic region looks fine. It looks like he's got like some black detailings around his waist. Looks very cool. Moving on to the arms and moving on to the limbs. And I honestly, and yeah, like the limbs look pretty good. They make good use of these SCCBS like armor shell pieces. Like especially here on the wrists, on the like hands. Yeah, very nice. Like very cool. It's like very cool, very nice. As well as on the legs too. Like as like a nice effective way of utilizing these pieces. Yeah, very neat. And as for like the limbs, unfortunately he doesn't have like articulated elbows or knees, but fortunately he does have the next best thing, and that is pre-bent limb pieces that you can actually pose around with. Like thanks to like the extra swivels that are connected to these like trans green pieces, combined with the other like joints like on his hips and shoulders and even ankles, he does have like a nice range of motion. Hips and shoulders are on these Galador joints, so he does have like a clicking, ratcheting joints, rotation, back and forth, pretty unhindered for the most part on the legs as well. And of course you can like move them in and out on this clicky joint. The arms do have two swivels, one at the bicep and one at just connected to the forearm wrist thing. While on the legs, it's only the thigh swivel, and the connection here is not on a swivel, but because the ankles are on a ball joint, you can not only can you kind of use them as like a fake knee, you can also like rotate it around and pose that however you like. Yeah, like a very nicely and articulated piece. I like this one. And then we get the hands. I like the art. I like how they've done the hands. Yeah, I like how they've done the hands. So you do get two separate fingers, or individually articulated fingers here at the knuckles. While on this side you have a separately fitted thumb that can not only hinge back and forth, but you can also but also thanks to this gray piece, you could also hinge this around so he has posable thumbs. So you can like pose him around and like what you can pose his hands around in some very like nice poses. Like this Z-Blob here is surprisingly highly articulated despite not having elbows or knees. And I think that's like a really nice way of like including a lot of articulation, a good bit of articulation, while not giving you like the actual like knees or elbows or whatever. Please stay, Mateo. Yeah, like an overly nice and like articulated figure. And he does look pretty good. It does look pretty good. You can even get him in some nice poses and stuff. Very nice. Yeah, very nice. And you would think that'll be it, but despite the fact that this like robot thing looks like fairly complete on his own, like this like legitimately looks this like this robot here on his own doesn't feel incomplete in any sort of way. It still doesn't feel incomplete in any sort of way. But even with that, you still have other stuff. You can still like mess around and give him other stuff. For instance, you have the parts that come from the third bag, which are this stuff right here, as well as a small handful of other parts that are also in this bag. We'll be utilizing these later, but I will tell you now, these are included parts, but they are not spares. We're gonna be using these later. Okay? Cool. So, here we have basically like various accessories for Z-Blob himself. So, first of all, let's start with what I think is like the coolest looking thing. Here we have his really awesome looking gun. It's mostly made from Technic parts, but he does like have like this little like green scope thing on top. Very nice. He also has like this container. He also has like this like container like mag sort of thing. There's like basically like this barrel of like slime or whatever Z-Blob is made of. You got like, and it's kind of like attached to here like a mag or whatever. Very nice. And of course, at the end of that is this really nice like blade piece, which here is being utilized as a blast effect sort of part. Yeah, very nice. It does look pretty cool. And even I do like the dual molded, how the dual moldedness looks on this part as well. Very cool piece, by the way. Yeah, very nice. And to attach this onto Z-Blob, there is a Technic pin connection, which you just move his fingers around. You do get a Technic hole right there. You just attach that right there and just wrap his fingers around like so. And there we have Z-Blob with a gun. And that looks pretty sick. You can even like pose him around with the gun. And it'll still look very, very cool. As for other accessories, he does have this thing, which is like a sort of like shoulder mounted like turret sort of thing. And what you do with this is as you rotate this around, you attach this onto his back, not only covering up some of the studs on his back, but also give him even more armaments, even more weaponry, in the form of this like shoulder-mounted turret thing, which does have stud shooters which can fire very nicely. Of course, putting those back in pretty quickly. And on top of that, you even have a little space where you have this like little space where you can sit Mateo in. So now Mateo is riding alongside his Z-Blob buddy. And I kind of like this. This is neat. It sort of reminds me of that like shoulder mounted like chair thing that was on like this sort of reminds me of like Samurai X from Ninjago, where they would have this like shoulder mounted like chair thing for Sensei Wu. This kind of gives me that sort of vibe. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very neat. And then there's other little like accessories in here. First of all, we have this, which is basically like a spare mag for Z-Blob's gun. So you can like switch. So given that the blue Technic piece stays, you can even like switch it out. And like I can probably like getting him in like a nice like pose sort of thing. But yeah, let's do that. Let's get him in a nice quick little pose where Z-Blob is basically switching out the mags on his weapons. Now, let's just attach that onto there real quick. Oh, and look at that. He can even make him look like he's like switching out the mags in his weapons. I like this. He's surprisingly articulated. And to my surprise, makes good use out of these pieces, which I was kind of questioning how these would work at first, but like after playing around with these in action, I feel like Z-Blob uses these green pieces very well, and it does help, and it does give him a nice like sort of slime look to his limbs. Very cool. Now, aside from the extra mag, you also get a couple other things, like a couple of these little jello-looking things, which I personally like to imagine these as like Z-Blob having some sort of like grenades. I like to imagine these as like either a landmine or like a grenade. So you can like picture him like throwing it around. You can even picture him throwing like one of these grenade things. And if you want, you could also like attach these on. If you want, you could also like attach these on Z-Blob himself, either on his like forearm or possibly even the back of his forearm. Like there's places you can put these, and there's uses for these. Now the last accessory we have for this mode, for this like configuration, is this little thing. And what this is, it's basically a target that you can basically shoot your little studs at. And so just trying to utilize that real quick. Missed that time. Missed that time too. Yeah, it's kind of... That's a silly little like flag, like target thing. Let's try this again. There we go. Just wanted to show you real quick that these stud shooters do have enough impact to knock this target thing over. But to be completely honest, that's not really that big. It's not really like, to be honest, it's not really that difficult. Like once you aim it, yeah, to be honest, not really that difficult because like if you're tired of trying to aim like the tiny little turret to this little target, you could easily just blow this thing and knock it over. It's not really hard to knock this thing over, but I do appreciate the inclusion. Very nice. So yeah, we do get some really cool So yeah, so we do get some. So this is like a really cool. This looks pretty cool. It does a good bit of playability. Gives Z-Blob a good bit of playability. And overall, like, this is pretty neat. But of course, we're not done there. Let's get you off. We're not quite done there, so because we can just go ahead and remove these, remove this, I'll put Z-Blob back in here. And something else that you can do with this stuff is, by throwing in these pieces, you can take this stuff and just doing this real quickly. And after shaking that up for a bit, now we have the other builds that we can make from the parts in this bag. And there, of course, are leftover parts from the previous builds. Let's set that off to the side. And now let's focus on this stuff. So let's just connect this. And what we basically have here is this sort of like slime, we have this sort of like slime jetpack with a nice little flag on here. They're made from the like target thing. We also have this nice like blast effect like blade piece being used again here as basically the propulsion for this, as basically the propulsion like effect piece for this jetpack. Very nice. To attach this, you can just basically just attach these studs onto the anti-studs up here. Boom. And very nice. We also have a much simpler like little turret build that you can just attach onto either of Z-Blob's forearms. So we can utilize a sort of forearm mounted weapon. Very cool. Yeah, very cool. And as for this thing is basically like a Z-Blob sort of like battle mask thing, basically. And to attach this to Z-Blob, you basically take this and clip these clips onto the bar connections on either side of his head, connected like so. And there we have Z-Blob there we have Z-Blob with a jetpack, a small turret on his forearm, and a pretty neat looking like battle mask. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, very cool. It does have the cool blast effect thing. And you can and you can of course like pose this guy in like various like sort of flight poses as well. Unfortunately, the battle mask portion of his head can't really articulate because it's just clipped in place. You can't really articulate it. It does make like the swivel on Z-Blob's head sort of like unseen. Yeah, like it still looks pretty still looks pretty sick, to be honest. So, still very nice. Still very nice, and of course this thing can rotate, so it can be moved out of the way as you're rotating the waist. Though it can get slightly restricted. It can get slightly the blast effect piece can get slightly restricting depending on what pose you have his legs in. But of course you can just remove this and you just have like the jetpack thing on its own. Very nice. But let's just attach that back into place. And let me tell you my overall thoughts on this set as a whole. And my overall thoughts, I think this looks pretty sick. I do kind of like how you can make other things using like the same bag of parts, using like the same batch of parts. I kind of like how you can like use the same batch of parts to make like different builds, or even just leaving the parts out, altogether. And even with leaving the parts out altogether, it still like provides you like you still have like a nice like fully done like Z-Blob build even without these parts like at all. It's like, to me it sort of feels like a 3-in-1. It sort of feels like a Creator 3-in-1 set, but you don't have to take the whole thing apart, basically. And I do think that's really cool. Do you think that's really cool? You're not quite getting a 3-in-1. You're basically getting one build that has like a good like that you can like basically you're not really getting a 3-in-1. You're more so getting one build with like various attachments that you can attach onto this build. But I do believe this like sort of feature differs between various sets. To like varying, I believe there are like to varying degrees of like good and not so good. And I actually like wonder like what those other ones might be like. And like, yeah, this is like a really cool thing. It's like very cool. Do you think it's fun? Mateo, please stand up. I know you're trying to fall asleep, but man, try to stand up. We're almost done here. Thank you. So yeah, so it's really nice. It's highly articulated. There are some really cool things that you can do with the different parts with the same batch of parts. You can like either make you can either give him like this cool like shoulder mounted gun and like this really cool blaster thing with some extra like targets, or you can use those same parts and build like a cool jetpack, a battle mask sort of thing, and like a forearm mounted weapon. There's some like different things you can use with this part, and the parts in the sets are also really cool. It also works very nicely as like a parts pack. So yeah, like very very neat. Overall, do recommend this set for not only for those who like the show, but also like those who just want a nice articulated modern like Lego sets, basically. An articulated modern Lego sets, modern like action like construction build. Still very very nice. It's also a nice. It's also another good example of exactly what these SCCPS parts can do. And these like new like Galador like adaptable pieces, very cool. Do like those. And the blade, this like green like effect piece, definitely like that. I'm already getting ideas on what I might use that for in future builds. Pencil's really cool. And as for these limb pieces, like getting into this, I was initially thinking that these sort of semi like macaroni like pieces weren't going to be all that great, or weren't going to be all that good. But after like putting this together and playing around with it, I do think that Z-Blob just about pulls this look off with these like trans green pieces, and overall makes like the parts more, and overall makes the parts like also makes the parts like feel like nicely used, nicely utilized. So like after like seeing this set, yeah, like these parts in particular, when used correctly, these parts do look really cool. And yeah, overall this set really nice. Do enjoy it, and can't wait to see what else LEGO Dreams has to offer. And with that, I think that'll be it for this review. If you enjoyed this video, consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.